A hiring manager spends about 6 to 10 seconds on your resume before deciding yes, maybe, or no. In a glance, they hit your most recent job, the company names, whether or not the skills match your role. That part is real, and you can absolutely design your resume for it. But here's the uncomfortable part and the update for you. More and more, a hiring manager never spends those 10 seconds. A piece of software does. And a new Stanford study says that software might not just reject you, but it rejects you everywhere all at once. So, how do you navigate this quagmire of AI screening while still getting hired? That's the topic on today's Tech Thaumaturge. The 10-second skim advice you've heard for years isn't wrong, it's just incomplete now. Because the first thing that reads your resume usually isn't a person. By one-sided estimate, over 90% of the US employers now use algorithms to screen for rank applicants before a human ever even sees them or gets involved. So before you optimize for humanized, you have to get past the machine, and the machine plays by completely different rules. So for those 6 to 10 seconds, when a human does look, the scan is predictable. Name and contact, most recent title and company, whether your career moves up and to the right, a glance at the skills, a check on education, and then a snap decision. That's it. That famous 6 to 10 seconds number, by the way, comes from a small eye-tracking study run by a job searching company with about 30 different recruiters. Treat it as a rule of thumb, not a law of physics. But the lesson holds. Lead with recent, relevant experience, be specific, and keep it clean. Reduced API latency by 40% by adding caching beats improved system performance every time, because specificity signals you actually did the thing. Now let's talk about the new gatekeeper. Here's what's changed. Most companies run your resume through an application tracking system first. That's just software that parses your resume into fields, matches it against keywords from the job posting, and then scores you. Some go further, game-based assessments or video interviews graded by AI, for example. Employers love it for an obvious reason. Hundreds of applicants, only minutes a day to screen them. But there's a catch, buried in the same Harvard Business School and Accenture survey that gets quoted all the time for adoption numbers. 80% of executives admitted those filters screen out qualified candidates, people who could do the job but didn't match the exact wording. So your first reader of your resume is a system that its own buyers know over-rejects people. Now, here's the genuinely new part by Stanford, and it's the reason for this video and this update. Researchers at Stanford and a few other universities got their hands on real hiring data from a single screening vendor and published the results in 2026. The scale is enormous, literally millions and millions of applicants across 156 employers in 11 different industries, all screened by the same vendor's algorithm. The finding, unfortunately, has a name: algorithmic monoculture. That's when lots of different employers all lean on the same few algorithm vendors, and when they do, the rejections stop being independent. They call the result systemic rejection. Apply to 4 different jobs, and 10% of applicants get rejected from all 4. Apply to 10, and about 4% get rejected from every single one. Not because you're underqualified by 10 different companies, but because the same kind of model judged you 10 times and gave you the same answer 10 times. Here's why that's worse than a bad reviewer to begin with. A human recruiter having a rough morning is a bad no. It's annoying, but it's just one door. When every single door runs a similar screener, one no echoes down a hallway. The study put a number on it. To be 91.9% sure you'd have to get through at least a human test at least once, you'd need about 25 applications. If every employer decided independently, 10 would do it. The monoculture more than doubles the work for the exact same you. There's a fairness problem hiding in there too. In aggregate, the vendor's selection rates looked fine, but when the researchers broke it down by position, a quarter of Black applicants' applications were roughly 15% of Asian applicants' applications landed on roles where the screen showed adverse impact, meaning a protected group got selected at less than 4/5 of the rate of the top group, which is EEOC's long-standing red flag threshold. The bias was real, it just hid inside the average. And to be clear about the scale, this isn't just one quirky vendor. A different company, HireVue, says its tools are used by about 60% of the Fortune 100. One model, an outsized slice of the market. That's the monoculture in a single statistic. So what does this change for you? You now have 2 readers to satisfy, and they want different things. The machine wants clear instructions, clear structure, and the job's exact words. The human, if you reach one, wants specifics and a story. Your job is to win both and to find ways around the machine entirely. Now, to get through both gates, mirror the posting's exact language. The screener matches terms literally. JavaScript and JS are not the same thing. They're not the same string. Use their words in the context of real accomplishments. Don't keyword stuff, though a human reads it next and stuffing reads it as desperate. Keep the formatting boringly parsable. Standard selection headers and real text instead of images. And no fancy tables, columns, or graphics that confuse the parser. The resume that looks gorgeous to you can be unreadable to the software. 3. Lead with recent, relevant, and specific numbers and outcomes, not responsibilities. This is a rare move that scores with the algorithm and impresses the human at the same time. 4. Escape the monoculture, and this is a big one. The single best counter to correlated rejection is a path that doesn't route through the same algorithm. A referral, a smaller company that has screens by hand, a recruiter who knows your work, a direct message to the actual hiring manager. One warm introduction skips that whole gauntlet. 5. Apply wider and more than feels comfortable. And don't read 10 rejections as 10 verdicts. The math says the system is noisy and it's correlated, not that you're unqualified 10 times over. Volume plus human connection beats perfecting that one resume for a machine. So here's the honest version of the 6 to 10 second rule. The skim is real, but a human often isn't the one doing it. The first gate is usually an algorithm, and because nearly everyone uses a handful of the same ones, a single rejection can quietly repeat itself across every application that you send. Beat the machine on keywords and clean formatting, then beat the system by going around it through people. Ever applied to a dozen nearly identical roles and gotten auto-rejected from all of them within minutes? That pattern might not be about you. It might be about the monoculture. Tell me about your worst rejected everywhere story in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many have gotten through this gauntlet themselves.